Hi, I'm Bill Graham. I'm the representative to the United Nations for the Italian Diplomatic Academy and the vice chair of the NGO Committee for Education, Learning, and Literacy at the UN in New York. I'm also the president of the Rotary Dare to Be Great Global E-Club. Rotary is an association of some 1.4 million business and civic leaders in 47,000 locations all around the world, all dedicated to the ideal of service above self. During the past 3 years, COVID has had a catastrophic impact on education worldwide, with most of the world's children having suffered up to 2 years of reduced education. Currently, roughly 2 out of 3 of all 10-year-olds worldwide cannot understand a simple written text. That's an almost 30% increase in 3 years. In the United States, the pandemic is reported to have erased 20 years of progress in reading and math. A report by UNESCO, UNICEF, the World Bank, and others say that COVID-19 is the worst shock to education and learning in recorded history. But we have to remember, education was failing to achieve the needed goals way before we ever heard of COVID. Even before COVID, almost half of all the world's 10-year-olds were not able to read effectively, and hundreds of millions of children, especially girls, were unable to complete their education or never even given a chance to start an education. And even many of those completing their education found they were unable to find employment related to their education in their home countries. It's obvious that education has been failing to deliver the needed outcomes for decades, and that COVID-19 has dramatically highlighted and exacerbated this catastrophe. In 2019, there were around 800 million children of primary school age in the world. Around 90% of these were enrolled in schools. This means that around 40% of all the 10-year-olds that were unable to read effectively worldwide were unable to read despite being in school. In some countries, as many as 80% of the 10-year-olds that are in school are unable to read effectively despite attending school. This means that if we could just get every 10-year-old who is currently in school to be able to read effectively, the percentage of all 10-year-olds in the world unable to read effectively would be less than 10%. This would be a tremendous, almost unbelievable achievement. During the past 3 years, more people have experienced firsthand the impact of COVID on education through their children or the children of relatives or neighbors. And more people than ever in all parts of the world recognize the need for a meaningful global response to the education losses due to COVID. This means that in addition to being a major catastrophe, COVID also represents a unique opportunity, an opportunity to be able to leverage all those people who are hungry for a meaningful global response to COVID, to mobilize the world's masses to recover those education losses. But not just recover to where we were before COVID, but to build back better and reduce the number of children unable to read effectively worldwide to a level never before achieved. Now's the time for a concerted global effort to get every school child worldwide to be literate in both reading and numeracy. I therefore call on all members of the education community worldwide, school administrators, teachers, etc., and all political leaders to pledge to get all school children in their schools and communities to achieve at least second grade literacy and numeracy before the end of this year, 2023. Some of you will say that's impossible, especially given the results of previous years. However, during the past 2 days, we saw that it was possible for almost all children, including those as young as 5 or 6, to go from total illiteracy to being able to read newspapers with understanding in as little as 45 school days, without requiring a teacher to teach them how to read. We're not saying all teachers should use this or any specific method to get their students to be effective readers before the end of the year. We're only asking that every educator pledge to work as hard as they can to have every student reading effectively before the end of this year. As the saying goes, you can't hit what you don't aim for, or you can't succeed if you don't try. Having said that, we're providing the link to this method just mentioned that has children reading effectively in 45 days in case you are not aware of a method you believe can achieve that for your students. We'll also post this in the comments below. This method can be implemented for next to no cost, so there's no reason for any student to be illiterate at the end of the year other than the school or teacher not trying. So come on, join the campaign to get everyone in the education community worldwide to pledge to have every student of theirs able to read with understanding before the end of the year. We don't want any school child to be unable to read effectively as of the end of the year because their school or teacher did not try. UNESCO, ministers of education, teachers associations, please become the global, national, and local champions for this campaign to get all teachers to pledge to get all their students to be literate by the end of the year. Unless you have another campaign that has the potential to achieve similar or better results worldwide, what reason could there be not to champion this initiative? And to Rotary, Lions, and other service organizations around the world, support this initiative by encouraging your schools and teachers to go for it and offer to help them in whatever they need for the short 2-month campaign needed to achieve these results. Remember what Michelangelo said. The problem for most people is not that they aim too high and fail, but that they aim too low and succeed. Should we fail, let it not be because we did not aim high enough. Dare to be great. Thank you.